Good morning, Buckeye Nation. Floco here. Ohio State football with Scarlet and Great right here on YouTube. We appreciate you guys tuning in, along with my co-founders, Sugar Ray, Shane Larson, and Johnny the Bullet Lunsford. This is Bucks and Brew, although I will admit I don't have any brew. I just have a vitamin water to help me wake up a little bit. It's sunny. It's sunny Florida. It's hot down here. I'm not going to drink a hot liquid in the morning until winter. I'm just going to be honest with you. I know usually you see Johnny Lunsford here. This is his baby, but we do have to give him a day off once in a while for this alleged family time he needs. I have yet to meet said family, so I don't even know if they're real or not, or they're just made up so he can get a day off from the show. But we got to take him for his word, so I wouldn't assume he would lie to us about that. But either way, he got us to 5,600 subscriptions. He deserves a day off. I'm asking you guys once again for another goal by Indiana. Get us to 5,650 by sharing the video, liking the video, commenting. We appreciate all the love and support you guys have been giving us over the years. I say that all the time, but we really do mean it. We do really read the comments, and we do appreciate all of the likes and all of the sharing. And we really appreciate all the kind words you guys give us. We're going to continue to try to give you free Buckeye content just like this right here in the morning. But a more important thing is we're 10 days away from Buckeye football. 10 days away, guys. It's a week and a half, and we're going to be there. We're going to wake up one Saturday morning on September 2nd and say, oh, my gosh, the Buckeyes play today. They play Indiana. But you know what I used to do on Facebook is I used to do this thing where I would, it's when you get to 99, you say, this so many Buckeye days until we play football again. And it would just be a player, whatever number they were. I try to get a different player for every year. It was a little difficult for some numbers, admittedly, but number 10 has a few. Number 10 has a few. Comment below. Who was your favorite Buckeye to wear number 10? I think most of you would, recency bias would probably say Troy Smith. Am I right? The Heisman winner, one of the greatest quarterbacks in Ohio State history. But there's obviously others like Art Schlichter, Rex Kern, Ryan Shazier wore number 10 for a little bit before he changed to number 2. Then, of course, you have Corey Brown, who was a really good player for Ohio State. I wouldn't put him on the echelon of in the tier echelon of a Troy Smith, but he was still a really good player. But comment below, who is your favorite Buckeye to wear number 10? For me, it probably would be Troy Smith. Recency bias, obviously. I mean, I was in my early 20s when he was the quarterback, so there's, some of my best years and more impressionable years watching the Buckeyes. Random Buckeye who wore number 10 was Bobby Hoying's brother, Tom Hoying, for a little bit. I just wanted to go back there. I thought that was kind of funny. But anyway, there's something similar to Troy Smith's background that we're going to talk about today and the QB battle raging on. I mean, if you remember, Troy Smith was not the highly touted recruit quarterback. This is supposed to be the quarterback of the future. We recruited a guy named Justin Zwick, who was figuring to be that guy. It's like, wow, I remember reading the message boards back. Yeah, this is how far back this was. The internet message boards, just before Twitter and before all that, or X or whatever it is. And people would say, oh my gosh, we finally recruited one of those types of quarterbacks to be the guy. And Justin Zwick, didn't have the career he had hoped or anybody else had hoped at this. I mean, in Ohio State. But, obviously what happened is a quarterback competition came about, and Troy Smith was obviously the better option. And he, went on to have the better Ohio State career. He obviously became a Buckeye legend. We obviously appreciate him. And right now it's not exactly similar because both these guys are highly touted, and Devin Brown and Kyle McCord. But the quarterback battle rages on. Johnny's been talking about it. He's talking about the toxicity within the fan base. It's kind of growing, and it's like we're getting set in our ways. He's talked about. I'm going to build on it here. We're getting a little set in our ways here that we picked a guy. We're drawing a line in the sand. We're getting entrenched, and this is who it has to be based on virtually nothing, really. We've seen very little Kyle McCord, and I say that because even though he's been in a mop-up duty, he's been a guy that, he just hands the ball off, makes a couple throws. We saw him in one start against Akron, played okay, not spectacular, it was never going to unseat CJ Stroud, but at the time, CJ wasn't playing extremely well, and we were wanting to see that next option. And Kyle McCord came in and played okay, didn't blow everybody away. And spring games, he hasn't blown people away, although I think he played better than what people say in the spring game. But Devin Brown didn't get to play, obviously, this past spring game because of an injury. So I want to give a different perspective of what I think is going on with this QB battle and give you something else to think about. People are making this a who's better, who's worse argument, and I don't think that's the correct argument to make. I think you have to consider the fact these are two very different types of quarterbacks. It's not that either one of them can't do the things that the other are strong at, but it's that their style of plays lean more towards different outcomes. Um, I will admit I'm with Johnny. I kind of lean Kyle McCord. I'm going to be fully transparent with you on that, but I am perfectly happy with whoever wins the job. I don't care. They're a Buckeye. I want them to do well. If Devin Brown wins the job, awesome. I know he's a great player. I know we're going to do good things with him. I absolutely am fine whomever they choose. There were years past where I was passionate about who they would choose. The Cardale JT debate comes about. I was pretty passionate. I wanted JT to be the quarterback at the time. And you probably scold me for that because you said Cardale won us the title. I was like, oh, I felt like JT moved the offense better. I felt like that year kind of, I wouldn't say proved it. I mean, Ed Werner being the offensive coordinator kind of muddied things. But that being said, that's neither here nor there. So that's ancient history at this point. I really do think we could win with either quarterback. But here's the thing. I think their styles of play are different. I think Ryan Day is having to choose between which style he wants to go with. From whatever, and I'm talking about everything I've read on message boards, from insiders to some sources we have here at Scarlet and Great as well, that we talk to. I think what I'm trying to paint a picture here and trying to put pieces together so I can come up with an opinion on that. And it's just an opinion. I'm not an expert, but I think what's going on here is Kyle McCord is a prototypical pocket passer type. Now he can move. It isn't to say he is not athletic, but that's just not, that's not what defines him. So my feeling is that he's a check down guy. Kind of plays it safe, has the arm to go deep, has all the physical tools he needs, but more of a prototypical guy. He'll make the smart play type thing. But obviously that doesn't, maybe he's not going for it as much in the big play department. Maybe he's being a little safer, trying to not turn the ball over, because what do quarterback coaches hate more than anything is quarterbacks who turn the ball over. And I liken this to, as a Green Bay Packer fan, a Brett Favre style versus Aaron Rodgers styles, who both are Hall of Fame quarterbacks, both are great players, both led the Packers to one Super Bowl, but they're very different, contrasting styles of play. Favre was more of the, take chances. I'm going to fit the ball on where I want it. I'm going to, and there's times that you win with that, but there's also times you die with that. And Aaron Rodgers was, yeah, he made huge plays, but he was also extremely careful with the football. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but you also win and die by that, because sometimes maybe you're not trying for the play you need at the time. Sometimes I felt that Rodgers would zero in on what he felt was safe and he'd hold back. So I think that Kyle McCord is more that Aaron Rodgers style, is what I'm gathering. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I think Devin Brown's more the Brett Favre make plays, but turn the ball over a little bit. I mean, I've been reading and hearing where he's turned the ball over a little bit in camp. So, okay. And not to the point where, he's out of contention for the quarterback spot, but to the point where it's a little bit like leading to the inconsistencies that Ryan Day speaks on. So my guess is they both have strengths and weaknesses based on their style of play, that Ryan Day and company feels that, he's confident with both of them. But what style of play do you prefer to go with? Do you want to go with that guy who's a little bit more careless with the ball, but he's a playmaker and he'll make plays with his feet, a little bit more athletic than Kyle? And maybe then you got to consider the fact the offensive line's probably not going to be completely where it needs to be. So then you have to, ask yourself, what would you rather go with as a coach? Guy's going to make probably the smart play most times, more often than not, but he doesn't quite go for it when he needs to go for it at times. Or do you go with a guy who tries to make a big play almost on every play, And that's not to say Devin can't make the good decisions. That isn't to say Kyle McCord can't make big plays. I'm just saying one probably leans one way more than the other. So to my thinking, that's where Ryan Day has to make his decision. And it's not a better or worse, it's a which route do you want to go? And I can, I used to think this was incorrect, but we have, I'll shout out to my buddy Keith here, who says I think they're both going to play up and they're going to finally pick a starter for Notre Dame. Starting to see that. I'm starting to see where they could do. I was a little bit biased in saying no, I don't think they'll do that because I hate that. I absolutely hate that. I want you just to pick one and go with them, and live through his mistakes. Because they're both young, they're both inexperienced. They're going to make mistakes. You're going to have to live with it. But either way, doesn't matter who it is. They're going to make mistakes. And of course, the second they do, the fan base is going to be clamoring for the backup. That's part of the problem of having. It's a good problem to have, but it's part of the problem of having 2 5-star quarterbacks basically duking it out here. And also I got to wonder if Ryan Day is like, I'd rather see number 6 than number 33. Not meaning the player themselves. Like, we got to get Devin Brown to change the number. That is hideous. I'm sorry. I love Devin. I love Alex eccentric you are a little bit now. I like that you are that personality, but man, that's horrible to watch. So it's like watching Otto Graham at number 60 or something like that. But I'm just kidding. I'm pretty sure it doesn't factor into it at all. But obviously it also speaks. I kind of agree with Johnny's assessment that Kyle McCord was probably way ahead because Devin Brown was injured and he didn't play for a little while. And then Devin Brown is such a good player that he's actually battled back and made it interesting. And I think Ryan Day even said that something to that effect. He's like, well, Devin's really fought back, made it interesting. And I'm like, well, that means that Kyle was in the lead, but Devin's just that good. You have to take a second look. It's not really a big deal that they haven't picked a quarterback yet. I mean, they know who they probably internally kind of know who they're going with, and they're starting to get that person ready. But I do think they plan on playing both early on in the season. Unless Indiana becomes a competitive game, then I think they're going to have to go with who they kind of lean towards. The other 2 games don't figure to be competitive. So you can probably play those guys quite a bit in those games. You would figure. We've tried that in the past, and all of a sudden the defense would let us down and say, okay, why are we in a 40-25 game against Rutgers? So we can't play the backups. But I don't foresee that happening here. I think defense will be a lot better this year. That's another podcast for another day. So I think the fans need to look at not who's better or worse, but which style do you go with? And on top of that, there's little intangible things that we're not seeing that, who's the better leader, who's the more vocal, who does Ryan Day feel more comfortable with the team? And because this is the most important position on the team, obviously. And whomever you choose is going to have to be your leader, be your guy, and be your general. It's just, there's a lot that goes into it other than, well, I didn't like that pass Kyle McCord threw on 3rd and 6. It's just, it's a matter of, I don't like what Devin Brown did on, 2nd down there. I mean, it's just more than that. And I think, as Johnny has said many times, we don't see the practices. Let Ryan Day figure it out. If it were any other coach, I'd be a little concerned because, you need a QB guru in this case to really be in charge of it. And we luckily have that, Ryan Day, obviously with Corey Dennis's help. So, guys, either way, it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a fun season. It's fun watching young kids get in there, get their shot, and grow, and see them go through their journey of ups and downs to see the player they can eventually become and the leader they eventually can become. Honestly, that's what makes college football awesome. It's part of the spectacle that is college football. As always, guys, we appreciate all the love and support you guys give us. Hit that like button if you like what you see. Comment below what quarterback you want to see and what you think is the holdup on the naming a starter, and who do you want to see? And share the video and subscribe if you like what you see. We appreciate you guys. 56-50 by Indiana, what we're going for. 10 days, guys. It's right around the corner. God, they were in single digits tomorrow. I think Johnny will be back for Bucks and Brew, guys. As always, goodbye. God bless. And, of course, go Bucks.